Well, live cooking show. I'm going to make Massaman curry, Massaman chicken curry. There's the chicken thigh fillets. I'll cut them up shortly. But first I need to heat up the pan, just a medium sort of heat to start off with. I'm going to add olive oil, a bit of a splash. Just need to make sure I have coconut milk. Where are you? I know you're here somewhere, coconut milk. I have found you. Coconut cream. So this is a bit thicker than coconut milk. But that's okay. This is the Massaman curry paste. Comes in that jar all squished up. I'm going to be putting in some of that very shortly. Open up my coconut milk first, the coconut cream. Cream or milk, I mean, basically cream is a lot thicker. That's the difference. Yum. Right. Probably, I do things by eyeball, so probably about this much. Okay. Is that a measurement? Yeah, it's called this much. If you ever watched me cook before, this much is about as good as you're going to get. What we're doing is actually literally just cooking through the paste. Simmer away for a second. I need to chop up an onion. So get him underway. Just a medium-sized onion. Some people in Massaman curries cut onion really, really fine. I'll not be doing that. I think a lot of people cut it really fine so they can hide it from their kids, I'm not sure. Again, I don't do that. So it's simply just cut probably in a third. And probably, like so, chunks like that. Takes a while to cook a good curry. If it's meat, it takes longer. Chicken a little bit quicker. Just do this. Add a little bit of coconut cream, probably about half the tin. I'm just going to add a little bit of water because if this was coconut milk, it'd be like that. It'd be a bit thinner. So what we're doing is literally, again, like I say, we're just cooking the curry through. It's a paste, so it needs to be cooked. The smell is magnificent. It is unbelievably good. Anyone cooks differently. You don't have to follow what I'm doing. This is what I do. I don't really measure. And the rest of this coconut. A little bit more water. You can see they're very precise measurements. Not. Probably cook this for about 5 or 6 minutes. While I'm letting that cook through, I will actually cut up the chicken thighs. You could use chicken breast. G'day, Tony. Chicken thighs have more flavour in a curry. If you've ever made chicken curry, you know what I'm talking about. Breast meat tends to, I don't know, get a little bit tight. Hello, Mel. If I'm missing somebody, it's because I'm stirring and cooking at the same time and trying to look. So, Mel, if I miss someone, just talk to them. That's looking pretty good. Most of the curry paste is breaking down. And it's, if you have a look, it's just a medium heat. It's not really, really hot. It gives me time. I will just throw this onion in. You can throw that in any time you like. So it does smell bloody beautiful, I can tell you. Oh, I'm never important, Mel. You are. That's you. I know that's a little thick, so I'll just add a little bit more of the aqua. And we'll let that get started. So this curry paste out of the way. Not sure if you use that one, Mel. Mrs. Seeds is somewhere. I think she's going to be watching her show. That's the May ploy that I use. I'm pretty sure Massaman curry started in Malaysia centuries ago, I think. But, you know, people will claim it as their own. I like their paste. It's got everything you need in it. You don't really need anything. I have fresh coriander growing in the garden, but I don't need it because it's in there. Now I've got some of these little baby white potatoes you get at the local supermarket, and they're pretty good size for me to cut up and use in this mixture. That's probably enough. I'm just going to give them a bit of texture, that's all. So I'm going to cut them down the middle, and like so. So you end up with this nice little ridging that goes on. Just quickly finish these. And they're a good size, they're not little by any means. You can see the curry, it is starting to simmer, which is what I want. The cooking process, like say, cooking out the curry. So let's have a look. Is Mrs. Seeds there? I'm not sure. Hello, Kelly. I think Mrs. Seeds is watching her nightly show. You know, those Canadians that go around and buy stuff, whatever that's called. But I never measure anything, it's just me. I make no apologies for that, by the way. I'll just finish off this one potato. See, they end up little cute, chunky bits. Actually, I'll get a bowl to put them in. Just so I can put them out the way for when I do the chicken now. Curry's got a nice little simmer happening. I will turn it down a bit, just a bit. So we're cooking out the curry. And I know a lot of people are going to gasp when I put the chicken in raw, but that's what I do. Thank you, Kelly. I'm just every now and then having a sticky beak. Raw chicken, I'm going to use a different board. I've got to be honest, we're not having this curry tonight. It's going to be had tomorrow. So that is chicken thigh, which I have to tell you has loads more flavour than chicken breast, if you're going to do a curry, by all means. Right, so that's an average size chicken thigh. What I'm going to do is cut it into chunks. Probably about, I don't know, inch and a bit. Something like that. Right. So I'll just keep doing that. And Mel will keep entertaining the guests because she's in charge, because she's special. But like I say, if you use chicken breast, it gets a bit tight. I do. I didn't buy these on special, but I wanted to make a chicken curry. So I bought them. I think they cost about $13 or $14. There is about 1.5 kilos of chicken in here. And because I'm going to start cooking shortly, and to make space, I'm going to start putting the chicken pieces directly into the sauce. A lot of people go, they're raw. Yeah, they're raw. They're all good though. And I don't take a lot of the fat off, but if it's really chunky bit of fat, I'll take that off. So that bit's a bit fatty. Because you're only just simmering, there's no panic about rushing. I know I'm going to add a little bit of water in there shortly again. Bit of excess fat. I shall take that off. It's a lot of chicken actually. It's a lot of chicken curry. It's a nice size that can go in. Go in. If you see how the chicken thigh works, there would have been a bone in about there. This would have been left on the bone, a drumstick. So you're getting the warts and all tonight. Bits of fat being cut off. Got a sharper knife in the cupboard. I should have used that, but the little one's easier to work with the camera. So I don't know how many chicken thighs. I think it was about 12 in here. That is a lot of chicken. But I know the kids are going to come round. Wife will cook up some nice rice. We shall enjoy the family dinner. Beef is a little bit different. I know I'm missing the chat, I do apologise. We're getting there. A little bit of fat's okay, but not a lot. So if you need a coffee or need someone to run an errand for you, Mel's there. She's very special. She charges a reasonable rate. I think it's about $300 an hour. Just ask if you want a coffee, no problem. Hello, old gringo. Haven't seen you for a while. I'm not ignoring the chat. I'm just making sure I don't cut my fingers off, if you know what I mean. Just a bit more to do and we'll be done. Just scrape that fat off. That's the bit you don't want. And I'll cut that a little bit off as well. it's just simmering away. So it's cooking. And because there's a lot of chicken in this, and then I'm going to add potatoes, I may even transfer it to my big pot. See how we go. But by doing it this way, you get to see what's in the pan. Getting pretty close. I've got one little bit left. See, lots of fat on that. I shall fillet it. Take off a nice bit of chicken. This will be going. That's all the fat I cut off. Should wash my hands. Like I say, a lot of people are going, but that's raw. It's raw chicken. Yep, it is. But it's fine. So I'm going to let that simmer away for about, probably just for another 15, 20 minutes. Then I am going to use my big pot. Because I need to add the potatoes. That's what I will end up with, this big bugger. I'll let the chicken simmer away in there. Just clean my chicken board while I'm at it. Talk amongst yourselves. I do like to clean up as I go along. It's just me. So in this is a nice deep, sort of big deep fry pan. It's not going to have enough room to put all my potatoes in. So what I am going to do now is, just as I like to, I'm going to put a bit of parsley. I've got fresh parsley, but that's okay. Dry parsley is just as good. A lot of people sometimes when I dish up a massaman curry, chicken one, they say, is that a butter chicken? Well, sort of, but it's not. It's definitely different. Massaman, if you've never tried massaman curry before, give it a go. You will love it. You really will. We might go and see what Mrs. Seeds is up to shortly. Just clean up as I go along. Because I'm a messy bugger, I'll be honest. I get in trouble lots. Just put some curry sauce onto the kettle. Tell no one. They should live another day. Right, for those that don't know, that's the chicken and sauce in there, and this is the potatoes there. That's it. There is no carrots. There is no anything else. The actual massaman paste has got everything you need in there. Just while it's simmering, I will just move it around bits and pieces just to change spots so nothing burns, even though it's on a pretty low simmer. Now, because it's on a nice even simmer, I'm going to put a lid on. That will go for about 10 minutes. And then I will add the potato into the big pot with the chicken. Hello, Mr. Speed. Shall we go and sneak and have a look at what Mrs. Seeds is doing? Shall we sneak up on her? Do you want to do that? If you say no, that's fine by me. But if if you want to go and see what she's doing, let me know. Just going to put my curry paste. Mr. Speed says yes, that's going to see what Mr. Speed is doing. Actually, tonight we're going to have, this is not for tonight. For tonight we're going to have cheese platter, crackers, probably a bit of fruit, pickles, fresh tomatoes. Oh, you have told her. Great. You've dobbed us all in. Well, let's go and have a check. Let's make sure this is still going all right. Oh, look at that. Looks good. We're safe to go for a sneak. Don't keep quiet, you guys. Keep quiet. She won't know we're coming. Unless Mel's told her. Look over there. You can see her. She's not even aware we're here. She's playing a game. This is him it in. Oh, busted.
I'm waiting for my show.
Where's Mrs. Seeds, they said.
Are you still alive?
Yes.
Who's there?
I don't know. Mel's in charge.
Mel's in charge.
Yeah. I've only seen old Gringo,
Oh, hello.
Tony.
So he's all right. We were worried about him because we hadn't heard from him.
Yeah, haven't heard from him for a while. So you haven't started watching your show yet.
In 5 minutes.
So you're just warming up. Is that what you're doing? Right, I see. Okay. You're obviously very busy. You've sent her, yeah. You've probably cooked something nice tonight too, Mel, I thought. But I never cooked any lives, I don't think. I think I might have done breakfast once. But cooking's not complicated. It's a balance. Like, for me, this is okay at the moment with the chicken, but when I add the potatoes, I'll only add a little bit of water to the big pot because I know it's a little bit thick, but that's okay while the chicken's cooking. It's going to soak up all that musselman flavour. Gas stoves, I'll be honest, I could cook this on just a portable gas stove, which I have done for many, many years. I like little gas stoves. I'm only using one burner. The smell of this is just terrible. It's like, I said we're not going to eat it tonight, but I might have a little bowl. Don't tell anyone. What's your night off? Cool. So you'll be cooking for sure. There's a bit of a close-up. They're taking a nap. Oh, I see, yeah. They're getting takeout. Oh, right. Takeout. What are you going to get? It's going to be, is it going to be musselman curry? It's a good little pot, this one. Well, it's quite deep. It's a fry pan. And in there, in pounds, it'd be over 3 pounds of chicken. Chicken thighs. And no, I'm not going to taste it yet because the chicken's still cooking. Definitely don't taste your food until the chicken is cooked. I'm not getting any. Oh, Mel, come around. You can have some of this. Chili mussels. Ooh. Sound like Jason, all right? I'm just having a drink of orange juice. You could add 2 or 3 nice freshly chopped up chilies. Nah, my wife's not keen on that. I like it that way. You could add fresh coriander if you want it, but in the sauce, the May Ploy Musselman curry, it's all there. You can get May Ploy all over the world. Like I said, I'd probably put in 180, 200 grams of curry paste into this. a full tin of coconut cream. Yeah, a lot of people love coriander fresh. I don't, actually. I grow coriander for my daughter-in-law because she loves this stuff. But I've been to Thailand and they have coriander in everything. And after a while you tend to think, meh, you could do with it or do without it. I mean, it looked very flash as a cooking show at the end if I just drizzled in some fresh coriander, which I have. But my preference is not to have it. I know Mel likes coriander too. Well, there you go, she just said it. But yeah, I tend to, see with heat as well, you cannot grow it. It's the easiest thing in the world to grow. It is temperature tolerant, in other words, during the real cold it doesn't go that well. Parsley doesn't, everything doesn't go that well in the real cold, we all know that. You know, come spring, you can have more coriander as you like. A lot of people make a mistake with coriander seeds. They'll start growing them and they over-wet them, which actually makes the seed rot. And you end up basically killing them. You must keep them moist, and you can even leave a few days without watering them, but just keep them moist until they're about 2 or 3 inches high. And then they can take a bit more water, but in the early stages you can drown them. Actually, a lot of people make the mistake of drowning their seedlings. Oh, very clever old gringo. Don't overwater them. And one of the secret ways to do coriander is to get paper toweling out the kitchen, wet it, roll up, another sheet on top, just roll them up and leave them on the kitchen bench for a couple of days. They'll start sprouting. You've sort of got a head start there, in other words, you haven't killed them. But they're very touchy that way, overwatering. That's the biggest killer of seedlings. People buy them. Actually, there's 2 biggest killers. They overwater or they don't water much at all. It's moist. A little hand spray, you know, the little dollar hand sprays. It's the best things for you at doing that. What's this? Bagel with cheese and... Oh, that sounds good. Except I know the wife's not real keen on salmon. We're pretty close. There'll be another 3 or 4 minutes and I shall transfer that to the big pot. Let's put the lid on. But you don't need, a lot of people just think if they put a higher temperature on it cooks quicker. No, 112 degrees is boiling, whether it's rapid boiling or just simmering like this. Still boiling. It's a gentle simmer. If you do a fast cook, you're more likely to burn whatever's on the bottom. The smell of musselman, if you've had it, you know what I'm talking about. It's filling up the kitchen. It's yum. I'm soon to be putting in these crinkle cut quarters of potato, which will be yum in the musselman. I'll probably, well, you can know how long a potato will take to cook something like this, probably 15, 20 minutes. So I'll be putting it into a big pot. 15 or 20 minutes later, it should be just about finished. I'll check, turn the lid off, turn the heat off, but leave the lid on and just walk away and let it cool down because it is going to be going into the fridge because we're not having it tonight. But I'm going to walk away now. I'm going to transfer this into this big pot. For obvious reasons, it'll hold everything. If I scream out in pain, you know I buggered up. Take that lid off, make it easier to do it. I'll leave you to look at the flame. It will be back. All I did was tip it into here. Just filling out the pot here so I can wash it. all I did was put it straight into there, but there was all the residue left in the fry pan, so I just put a bit of water and swilled it like a gold digger and put it in there. Just a bit of water. You can see it's a little bit more watery than it was. Well, now these can go in. It's sort of your guide, actually, when you make a musselman, is that the potatoes take 15, 20 minutes. It's usually what it is. Just give this a bit more of a stir. Now, let's just do a double check. And find a piece of chicken. This one will do. Just going to check. Even though it's sticking together, thighs are a lot tougher than breasts. Let's have a look. It's 90% cooked. So we're getting close. Bit more of a stir. This is a lot of curry, believe me. Let's just push everything down so it gets covered. Now, off memory, this is too big, but at least you can still see what's going on. Yes, this is from the fry pan lid, but it does the same job putting onto a smaller lid pot. This is much taller, but not as wide. So we're going to leave that. I'm actually put it on the smaller burner, which you won't see. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, not sure. Over here. Turn that one off. So I really want it just to simmer. So it's over there. I'll just quickly show you the bottom. A little burner. Okay. It's a little burner. It's going to let it simmer nicely. I'm going to leave that for 20 minutes. 15, 20. If I forget, 30. Might go outside and have a cigarette. Let's just make that a bit thinner. Let's just check. Yeah, it's making a little simmering noise. Sorry, I missed something there. As a southerner, it's amazing to me that you didn't just fry the chicken even. Well, you don't have to. I mean, I know lots of people panic whenever I've showed them in the past that I put in raw lamb or raw beef. It's just a time process. It still is cooked. Searing, I like to do for a stew or casserole with chicken, but with this, it keeps the chicken real moist. So that's my theory anyway. You're on a stick at the moment, so I'll lower you down so I can see us. That's better. Breaking my neck. Kelly Kell's going. See you later. Catch ya. Yeah, sealing in meat's good, but it doesn't seal in the juice. I know a lot of people go, oh, it does. It doesn't. What it does is gives extra flavour, believe it or not. If you've got those pan-fried edges of beef or chicken, you know what I mean? It's the extra flavour you get. Moisture is how long you cook it for. If you overcook, it gets real dry. We'll be right back, Mel. Okay. So it's in the kitchen. If you know how to cook, you know what I'm talking about. You can overcook a lot of things, but searing is really for flavour more than moisture. And the worst thing people do, I'll give you the greatest example. Get a nice piece of steak. It's beautiful. It's fillet. It's about an inch thick, probably about 5 inches round. It's magnificent. And then your son-in-law says, I'll cook that for you. I go, okay, yeah. And I say, season it first. But he says, yeah, no worries. And he brings it in. It's now a 1/4 inch thick and absolutely bone dry, no juice, because he's got his big spatula and he's pressed down on the barbecue. That's what takes moisture out. It's like, geez, thanks. And he says, oh, I just had a bit of it, tastes real good. Yeah, okay. Will he get a chance to cook my steak again? No, that's it, finished. You don't press hamburgers down. You don't press steak down. You don't press anything down. Let heat do the job. You often see that though. I'm sure you've all seen it. Someone on the barbecue pressing down on the meat. If you see that, tell them that seed said, stop doing it. A good hamburger doesn't need much work done to it. You can just get ground beef out of the packet and gently form it into a pate. That's all you got to do. And at least 1/2 inch thick. Hello, Jojo. But the other secret of the night, say it's about 4 inches or 5 inches across, about, 1/2 inch thick. In the middle, just get your thumb when you finish making it into a round pate and put a big push down into the middle. I mean, probably good 1/2 inch indentation in the middle. So what happens is that all the meat, normally if you don't push it down, you end up with that little raw bit in the middle sometimes, you know what I mean? Depending what heat you're cooking it on. But that little bit of a depression in the middle of the burger fills in again eventually, but keeps all the juices in there, so you don't have to press the bloody thing down. Barbecues across Australia, they have these barbecue kits, the ones with the tongs and a great big spatula about that wide, which they figure they must press down on their meat. Hello, Buttercup. Expecting a man any minute. Oh, we're going to cut this broadcast and Buttercup can go live. She's expecting a man. It's a man's world. All right, can someone give me a 10-minute timer? If you can just do that on your phone. I don't want to do it on mine now because I'll lose you. Yeah, so we're crossing live now to Buttercup and Wales. We got contact? I bet this man's going to be wearing a uniform. Well, for a while. Let's be honest, just for a while. I have a feeling I know which man it will be. Something to do with electricity. No, that's... That would never happen, Jojo. Thank you, old Ringo. So I'm just letting that chicken simmer. I'm not going to do much else to it, actually. When I go in there and I take it and the potatoes are right, the chicken's right, just turn it off. I'm just going to let it cool down. So I'm not going to dish it up tonight, so I apologise if you think you're going to get this presentation, because tomorrow night is rice and chicken massaman curry. Thank you. Yep. It's not a big panic. It's not going to burn. What did Buttercup say? Spare me the thought. Yeah, no, that's not a good thought. I don't know what's been happening in the world of bed bugs, but I'm sure it's just the same Groundhog Day. Every day's the same in Tinland. If I only had a brain. Water to wash down that bagel. Sounds good. I can tell you here, in my state, Western Australia, things are just about back to normal. We don't have any active cases at all. So everyone's sort of getting back into the swing. I'm still being cautious, so is the rest of the family. Like, big shopping malls are full of people again now. And encourage everyone, when that happens, just wait a couple of weeks. Go down shopping late at night. No one there. Yeah, we've got a few 24/7 supermarkets, so we don't have to. We can go at 3 in the morning. No one's there, except the guys stocking the shelves. Just play it smart. It's like playing poker. When I played poker, we used to have competitions over east where I lived. I have on occasions when there's been 3 or 4 people going all in and this is true, I've had a pair of aces, and then on the board might be 3-5 jack, and I've folded. A lot of people couldn't fold with 2 aces. I could. Yep, someone had trips. Yep, no aces turned up. I would have lost. In the beach ball rolling. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. Were you rolled along the beach? It is getting cold at night. Rolling, 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 raw high. Yep, them bogies moving. But we're having beautiful days. I mean, really beautiful. Sunshine, very little breeze. All the birds are gathering in the morning, shitting in my driveway. But I bought a new spray thing that you attach to your garden nozzle. Works like a charm. If you want the birds, you've got to put up with the crap. It's part of the deal. So it's the best time of the year. No real heat. I think next couple of days we're getting 27 degrees Celsius, which is nice. It's not hot, it's not cold, but the nights go down to about 10 degrees Celsius, so that's cool for us. Oh, he's back at work. Good, good. I know he's looking forward to getting back to work. I know he's looking forward to retiring as well. So that's most of the excitement over for the cooking. I thought I'd just show people. I've often been asked, can you do a live cooking show? I said, nah, can't be bothered. But I bothered tonight. There you go. Still managed to get about 20 kilowatt of solar, which is good. I only use about 10 or 11 a day, so that's all good. I'm not sure what's happening in your world as far as the virus, but I can report it's nearly back to normal here. Though a lot of people are still cautious and people are social distancing. I'm cooking chicken massaman curry. Joji says, I know I'm losing my mind. I'm one of the smartest couple can't understand me think I have Bud Light 20. Okay, I got you. Throw out some chicken bones at work right off the crate. Yeah, cat scene, I don't know. Actually, yeah, cats are funny. Feral cats will eat anything, but you throw a bit of raw chicken down to a domestic cat who's used to kibble or tin cat food, they look at you and say, what's this? What are you trying to take me back to the Stone Age? Open that tin now. I've never given an animal tinned food because dogs who eat tin food, they fart and it's like something from another planet. It's not normal. Breeding off the chick. Oh, so you're breeding cats. Pretty sure we're close to your 10 minutes, so what I'm going to do, we're going to have a sticky beat now. It's been about 8 or 9, I don't know. We'll just give it a bit of a final stir, bit of a check. 3 minutes left. All right, I'll just have a peek on the way through. Oh, simmering beautifully. We'll go and see the boss for a minute. There she is. They say hello to you.
Hello.
No, they're going to say hello to you, I'm sure.
Huh?
Just a bit deaf. Oh. They're going to say hello to you.
Hello. I can hear them.
Gringo says, hi, beautiful.
I'll go to the... see you.
All right.
I'm watching my show.
Yeah, we better not disturb her. I'll pay for it later otherwise. If you see the bruises and marks tomorrow, you know what happened. Hello, Roo. Good to see you. So just put that over there and let the juices drip from the lid. We'll give it a bit of a stir and on a nice simmer. I think the spuds need another 3 or 4 minutes. Let's have a look. Yeah, you're getting there, but not quite there. The chicken is cooked. So now I will taste. Man, that is good. Shame you can't all come round tomorrow night. So it's going to put it back on. Probably another minute or two. I'll turn that off. No, she's not watching Jerry Springer. She's watching The Life and Times of Jojo. It's a Californian show from the 70s. About a young bloke who got into buying cars and got on the wrong side of the law. You know what I mean. That's the life that these people lead. Good story though. He spent, 30 years in prison and then still buys cars, but helps the needy when they need it, so. Everybody can change. You know what I mean? Everybody can change. Oh, you could just smell this. I'm sure one day they'll have smell-o-vision. Scratch a Musselman card. And if you ever cook curries, you know, probably by tomorrow night, when I reheat just a small portion of this, it will be thicker, naturally. Yes, I'm just tasting another bit. That's so yum. So if you look on the end of the description of this video, you'll find all the exact ingredients, the weights and measurements. No, you won't. You are never going to see that. Okay? Time. Doot, 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 doot. Sounds good. I do know the wife will like. I'll bring it over so I can show you. For me, that's good, but I know the wife will probably like a little bit of sweetness, so not a lot. See this tiny little spoon? This is raw sugar. And yes, you can put sugar in curries. Because she will say, oh, it's a little bit bitter. It's not now. Put that back on. I don't know if I can get you any closer. Oh, I can make you tall, can't I? Oops, sorry guys, now you're about 3 feet higher. So tiny little bit of sugar. That just takes the edge off some of the spices and herbs. Makes it a little bit sweeter. But for all intentional purposes, I'll leave it another 2 or 3 minutes just to simmer. Then we'll be done. You add a wee bit of sugar to your curry. Yep. I don't always, but Musselman's got a little bit of extra edge on it. And I only put probably a teaspoon and a bit of normal teaspoon. It will be over a bed of rice. Musselman curry is always either beef, lamb, chicken, whatever, goat, and it's always served generally with rice. Yeah, you can do whatever you like. You can add whatever you like to it. I like to keep it simple. I just have rice, basmati rice, I think we've got, and curry. But like I say, that's as hard as it is to make a curry. It's not hard at all. Always the prep time takes you the time. But I cut a handful of potatoes up, put in about 200 grams of curry paste because there's lots of chicken, about 3 pound, or about 1.25 kilos. Yeah, no, look, I mean, probably with this, some steamed veggies would go well, but there's potato in it, and that's generally what a Musselman curry is. It's meat and potato. It's about as basic as you can get it. Look at that. That is going to be so yum. So I'm just about done. I'll have to clean up, yes. If I don't clean up, I'll get in trouble. So this is clean up time. Yes, I clean up as I go along. That's not finished. That's just rinse. So come the washing, it's easy. So if you clean up as you go along, life is made easy for you. So because, you know, when you're asleep, your wife doesn't come in with a sledgehammer and say, "You dirty mongrel, you left that kitchen in a state." That's the end of me. Yeah, the wife picked out the sink. We had, if you remember the old kitchen where the window used to be here, and we had an old kitchen sink and it had a bench this side like it's got here and a bench this side. The old kitchen was probably about that much longer. But yeah, we got plenty of pressure too. My goodness. You could drive on a Jojo's Ferrari with that force. All right, I'm happy with that. And the potatoes are probably about 90% done, but how I do it now, I shall grab the original lid. I will take this lid off, put that in the sink, and I will turn off the heat, put on that lid, and in about half an hour I'll check it. Potatoes will be perfect, the chicken will be yum, and the sauce will be just as good. So that's cooking finished. Normally now I'd be getting a bowl of rice, delicious rice, and then I'd be having a bit of this Musselman curry, but we're not eating this till tomorrow. Do you ever do any crock pot cooking? Well, yeah, but I can crock pot, if you like, in like big chasseur like that. But I used to have crock pots, but I'm old school now. I basically cook from scratch, do it that way. But nothing wrong with a crock pot, don't get me wrong. Take care, your man's arrived. What's his name, Friday? Friday, come here. But ma'am, I'm here to fix the faucet. You were here to fix the faucet. Whatever you're doing, Buttercup, enjoy yourself, as long as it doesn't cost too much. You know, don't spend too much. Strippers, they cost a fortune, apparently. Mind you, if it's JP, you might get a freebie. Never know, your luck. So that's my job done for tomorrow night. Actually, there's enough meals in that, and I'm not kidding. There'll be 8 meals in that. Depends if the kids come round, there'll be just 1 meal. Catch you later, Buttercup. You gotta do what a girl's gotta do. Yeah, no, they're not my slippers. In fact, my feet are twice the size of those slippers, so even attempting to put them on, I'd probably get a hernia. "13-inch feet, don't go into 6-inch shoes." Or 7-inch, I think she wears actually. Yes, yes. You know what they say? Big feet, big shoes. But Buttercup and I were talking the other night, and it was like cooking a meal like that is, well, we're not eating it tonight, But I could make up those metal containers, you know what I mean? With some rice in there, bit of the mushroom curry, let it cool down, put it in the freezer. I'd have 8 good sized meals, if not more, for whenever I want them. And that cost me 14, probably about 15, 16 bucks. So about $2 a meal. Oh, I love schnitzel. I'd cooked up a monster schnitzel for my eldest son who came in the other day. I said, you got a choice, you can have T-bone or schnitzel. He said, which one's the biggest? I said, actually the chicken schnitzel is the biggest. You saw what me and the wife had. If you double those sizes, I think his was one big chicken breast filleted out, gently bashed, about 10 mil thick, egg and breadcrumbed. I couldn't believe he ate it all. He's a decent eater, but would have been about, would easy be 3/4 of a kilo of chicken, huge breast. My favourite, Rujex, above everything else, is pork schnitzel. Beyond anything else. Hydrochloroquine. Oh, good. You're going into politics after this, are you? That sounds like it. Follow your leader. Well, he doesn't drink gasoline, I suppose. The pituitary gland stopped fire, I'd go on a growth hormone at the age of 10, but it was too late. It's funny, I know families exactly the same, old gringo. One of the boys in the middle, they had 3 boys and a girl. And the girl is nearly 6 foot, the other boy is 6'4". The middle boy, second oldest, 5'2". And I think it was the same thing. Something about didn't get that growth spurt, something to do with maturity. That doesn't matter. You're still the same person, you're just not a foot taller. And I'll give you a tip, old gringo. It's not good news for me and these tall buggers. When you walk down the streets, if you can in the future, have a look down the street and see how many old, tall people you see. Nah, not many. The taller they are, the quicker they fall, if you know what I mean. It's just a fact of nature. So have a look around next time, you'll see a lot of old, short ladies in their 90s. Probably little skinny blokes in their 80s. But do you see any 6'5" old people? Yeah, no. I think they'll get taken away by aliens. Yeah. That's what happens. Where's Thelma? Don't know Ruth, personally. But yeah, like I say, you got given what you got. Oh, Dr. Ruth, yeah. You don't get an option. Your genetics, you're born with it. That's what you're going to be. I do remember that American guy. I think he was only about 27 when he died. He got to 8'5". You might see him. He was in the late 40s and 50s. Terrible. An idea soldier sniper. Well, I did read that the Chinese ambassador to Israel was found dead the other day. I believe he choked on a koala. Yeah. Just saying. Australia was the country that put forward the motion to China to be investigated for when and where this virus started. The Chinese have mocked us for 2 or 3 weeks for suggesting that at all. And then yesterday, 123 countries agreed with Australia. So did China. But China have made this stipulation. They only want the World Health Organization to investigate, and not until the pandemic's cleared up around the world. So in probably 25 years, to let an investigative team in. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's what most homicides do. They tape off the air and say, boys, we'll come back in 25 years. Okay? 0 deaths for COVID-19 in Vietnam. Well, that's extraordinary. Sometimes if you don't count them, they don't record them. Look, I mean, lot of these countries, we've been to Vietnam, lovely people, they are, trust me. But they're run by a communist regime as well, so they toe the line. That's how it goes. But I think China are finding out pretty quickly the world is not going to toe their line. See you later, Jojo. Have a good one, mate. On the next hanging, play the background music for Jojo leaving. Sounds like music for Ben-Hur. Yeah. Get your stinking hands off me, you dirty ape. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure a lot of countries are opening up because they've successfully capped and flattened the spread, but there are some countries that haven't capped and that are reopening, and that is terrifying. Yeah, it's a communist regime in Vietnam. When you get off the airplane in Vietnam, you're greeted by about 6 to 8 armed soldiers with AK-47s who look at you without even smiling. Yeah, and then they do this strange thing. You get into the airport, you've got to show your passport, and these blokes are up about 7 foot tall. So you've got to reach up and hand your passport to them, and they look down on you. Sort of an authoritarian sort of position, if you know what I mean. And then they look at you and they check you out, you go, yeah, you can go in. So it's a bit like that. The people of Vietnam are beautiful people. 1.5 million cases in the US. Well, okay. We sadly recorded our 100th death, and that was from an old lady in a nursing home. That about 20 people have died there. But most of the people that have died in Australia have come from overseas on cruise ships. Hence to say not many Australians are booking cruise tours this year. Want to go on a cruise, dear? No. That's the difference. I think it doesn't matter what sort of government you've got, old gringo. It's what's the end result for the people. And if you look at the US at the moment, and on the outside looking in, people queuing up for food parcels, people being forced back to work even in areas where the virus is still climbing. It's like, I get it. I know if my family was hungry in the US and I wasn't earning any money, I need to go back to work. I get that, but it's wrong. Because the biggest problem if the US has a massive outbreak in the next 4 to 6 weeks, what the hell do you do next? Well, that's what they've done in Australia. They've paid for people to stay home. If you lost your job because of the virus, which most people did, you get $1,500 a fortnight, which is every 2 weeks. Works out about $3,500 a month. So that's you, and your wife gets that as well. So you're not worried about money. And you can freeze your mortgage. The banks have agreed you don't have to pay until the virus is gone. Yeah, no, it'd be nice to be emperor for one day. But like I say, if you can take the worry of food and money away from people and just tell them, look, just sit back. We'll sort this out. And we have no active cases in my state at all. No one's in hospital. And our borders are still closed. That shows you the difference. No one can come in or leave my state. And we don't have any virus problem. But other states aren't as well off. And they're still having a few spikes. Not many. There's not many in Australia. I think in Australia we have 55 active cases. I wouldn't like to see that, old gringo. That would be just plain nasty. I think we're in for a shock, for sure, even in Australia. There's a lot of people that are marginally facing going underwater because house prices, you can take my next words to the bank because they will take it anyway. House prices will fall at least 30% in Australia. I have no idea, what it's like in the US, but at least 30%, which means everyone that's taken out a $500,000 loan will have a $300,000 house and they'll be underwater. And not everyone's going to get their job back. So there's a crunch coming here in late September, October, when the banks will lift the veil of you having to pay your mortgage again. So there's a crunch coming. Look, it's never been, even in the US, it was never a housing crisis. It was this perpetual desire to have credit cards and buy properties, and the banks agreed to interest-only loans, etc., etc. And you just need one thing to go wrong. And in Australia, this one thing's been the virus and people staying home. Sure, they're getting some money, but a lot of Australians earn $4,000 a week. So getting, you know, $3,000 a month doesn't pay their mortgage. So we've got this impact coming in my country, and it'll be the same everywhere, I'm sure. In probably late September, October, maybe early November, when the big crash will come. And what will happen with it? Yeah, the stock market will go kapoof just as much. I'm looking at the stock market at the moment thinking all these little boosts and jumps they do based on like so-called vaccine that could save the world, will go up 5%. It's a lot of worried people. If you're looking at investing or uninvesting rapidly day in and day out, no one has a clue. It's all guesswork and speculation. But when it comes to housing and people's personal debt, Australians are fried. Trust me, there'll be banks go under here. It'd be nice to have a system that was just fair. I would make a rule that no one could take out a loan on a house at all unless you had minimum 30% of the capital. So if it's a $300,000 home, you have to have about 100 grand. So the bank will give you some money, but you've got to put your money into it. That would make people think twice. Because people just want the new cars, the holidays, the new house. Look at us. We've got the American dream. Until the door's locked behind them, foreclosure written on the front fence, and they're at mum's. Mum's looking at them. What happened? Banks foreclosed on us. Oh, okay. Banks, do they care? Nah, they don't care. Well, I suppose what I'm saying is that the 2006-2007 period in the US, where it was all culminating, coming to a crescendo, that's what's happening in Australia. There were too many easy loans given. Same as you guys, no difference. No, I've never borrowed to build my home. I paid my first house off in 5 years. I've worked on the principle, buy it, don't pay it off. So I had a little tiny house when I first started. People they don't do that these days, those routes. People want that 2-story mansion with a 2-door garage, and the Merc, the Pontiac, or a Tesla. And they want to go on holidays to the Bahamas, Europe. And they get home and they get the mail. Says, yeah, you got all the stuff, but you got to pay it back. And the stats in my country would be no different in the US. If 2 people are working in the US and one loses their job, there's a very good chance they'll lose everything they have. Yeah, no loan, don't, cash. I've always told my kids, no credit cards, and spend as much of your own money as you like. I, for years, worked on a principle of pushing 10% of my income away, not even thinking about it. Don't touch that. And if you do that all your life, it works out pretty well. Life was never meant to be easy, but why make it so hard for yourself by going in over your neck into debt? You have no chance. Look, being poor is fine. Being happy is different. Plenty of rich, unhappy people. You've got to deal with what you got, and you make the best of what you have, and just move forward. It's not one of those things that it's like a magic button that you can press and be successful. The old adage, you work hard, you do okay. We don't need much, do we? Old Gringo, you need shelter, you need some food in your belly, you need something comfortable, you need to laugh, you need to have a few friends. Who cares if your friend drives a 300,000 Mercedes and you drive a $1,200 pickup? Who cares? They're both parked at night and no one's in them. I always get teased because the kids say, oh, you never bought a new car. I go, yeah. I said, why not? I said, well, why do I have to buy a new car? I'd agree, Rujex, for sure. So, as they say, my grandfather used to say, money is a better form of poverty. He was a stickler, just, tucking money away. And you just got to learn that skill early, is that don't spend everything you got, and certainly don't spend more than what you've got. A young couple that have just been working for a few years should never be allowed to purchase a home on interest only. That's, for me, is the bank's fault. And the government for letting the banks to do it. That's wrong. It's like if you were the parents and the kids said, oh, can you buy us a house and we'll pay you over 20? You're saying, no, keep working, keep saving, and then put a big deposit down on a house. I've always despised that keeping up with the Joneses bullshit. It really annoys me. It's very un-Australian. I've sat down with multi-millionaires. I've sat down with the Prime Minister of our country and had a beer. And people of great influence, and they're just people to me. I don't, polish their nuts thinking they're special. They're not. They're just normal people. Most of the celebrities you see on celebrity television are celebrities in their own mind. Or for a glimmer of a day or two, or a week, maybe a year, the public loves them. And then they throw them away. They're done with them. So just because you're either wealthy, really good looking, charismatic, whatever, does not make you special. Because most of the planet are just, humdrum like us. We just get by. We just do what we need to do. There's too much emphasis on achieving and progress when we should be thinking about sustaining. Well, the wife has a very classic saying she says all the time, you can't pick your family. Blood is not thicker than water. You shouldn't suffer because it's, obligatory to, support a family member that's making your life a misery. Nope. Bingo, Rujex. My saying is very much like that. The best way to save money, Rujex, is not to spend it. Like, even though that's a meal I've cooked tonight, seriously, that's, like I say, I don't know, 15, 16 bucks. But we'll have meals on a really big plate with rice and that massaman curry, and it will be $2. Now, if you can go into a restaurant and buy a big massaman curry with rice for $2, let me know. But mine will be delicious, because I know, because I cooked it. And if I want to, I'll make some containers up and I'll freeze some. So in 3 weeks' time, we think, oh, do you want a massaman curry and rice? Yeah. Whack it in the oven on about 150 degrees, 30, 40 minutes after it's defrosted overnight. There's your meal. Like takeaway, but it's done at home. Food is not really the issue. I don't care where you live on the planet. You could throw me where Rujex lives or where Old Gringo lives, and I could get, if I was feeding two of us, like me and Rujex, I'd say, Rujex, you give me 25 bucks and I'll put 25 bucks in, and we're going to eat like a king all week. Because you can. It's not food. It's the cost of living. Gas, electricity, you name it, all the little incidentals, taxes. The reason why people basically at the end of each month have only got so much to spend is by design. You think these rich bastards that run the planet want you to get ahead? Well, they didn't let your parents get ahead, or your grandparents, and they certainly are not going to make any exceptions for you. You will be just getting by, because that's how it works. That's how the people that run the planet keep running the planet. If you really sat down, and this is the old analogy that my grandfather taught me, and just had a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle, and the top heading on the left says things that other people supply for you, other stuff you buy. And on the other side of that line, you put things I do for myself. And I've already done this experiment with many people. Most people can fill in the left-hand side about, yeah, I buy food from the supermarket and I get my tyres changed and that guy changes my oil, huge list. And on the right-hand side, they put their pen up to the lips and go, what do I do for myself? Nothing. Well, there's a secret. On the left-hand side, it costs you every time you write something down. If you write something down on the right-hand side, like, I grow all my own potatoes, or I do whatever, fix my own windows, do my own plumbing. Because the secret of saving money is not to spend it. Yeah, I think freedom is a word which can only be explained for each of us in our own circumstances, like, are you free to do what you want to do? A lot of the time the answer is no. You're free some of the time to do what you want to do. And that's why the people that run the planet make you feel that way. They make you feel obliged to toe the line. I get it, yep. And Seas of Adventure by Randy Vining. I think it doesn't matter where you live. I certainly wouldn't want to live in a van. I travelled Australia for several years as a young man, in cars and vans. I've always been the same, rejects. I didn't do a lot of work on this house. I did some, and I saved us a lot of money doing it. But I built 2 houses on my own before this. And I'm just too old to climb roofs and pitch roofs now. I just know that, so I play within my strengths. But it is that secret. It is so simple. If you don't spend money, you save money. It doesn't get any more simple than that. And some people at the moment are doing it through necessity, and they're probably learning. There's lots of people learning skills about stretching the food budget and making good meals at home instead of buying that cuppa on the way and then, bagel at lunch. Add up at the end of the day, they spent 20 bucks just going to work. I mean, it's costing them $100 a week just to go to work. Well, get up a bit earlier, make some nice sandwiches, put some fruit in there, maybe a bit of chocolate, who cares? Enjoy your lunch for about $2. It's like I remember a young bloke once telling me, he said, look, I never have any money. I said, all right. And I said, well, why haven't you got any money? He said, well, I earn pretty good money, but I'm always buying a game and, putting fatter tyres on the car. And I like going on holiday. And I said, well, okay, we've already got a solution to your problem. How much did you spend on all those things? Well, 10 grand for the year. I tell you what, if you hadn't spent that, right now between me and you, you'd have 10 grand. He goes, oh yeah. But it's the immediacy of what people want. They want it now. I want it now. Well, there's a price to pay for now. That's how it works. The banks love people like that. You want it now? Yeah, no worries. Just sign down the bottom where it says, I redeem my soul for this loan. Good, thank you very much. Ching. Money in the bank. There are so many foreclosed homes in Australia that the banks are not telling anyone. The banks don't want you to know. There's lots of empty houses for a reason. There are lots of people living at mum and dad's. My mum says, but you left home 20 years ago, what are you doing here? Well, got no house. Well, I mean, when it comes to education, if you needed to have graduated to do something in life, you would have already done it. You obviously didn't find the need to do it, which is fine. Yeah, look, I'm telling you, old Ringo, my country is going to feel the effects of going underwater. Our unemployment rate is enormous, and not everyone's going to get a job back. So by September, October, when the banks come a-calling, you will see a major collapse in this country financially, for sure. And like I've already spoken to some people, these young couples said, look, you know, we're really struggling, we might go under. I said, well, it's up to you to do whatever you need to do, but if you have to go bankrupt, do it. Don't keep getting down to no pennies each month because the banks get your money. Just declare bankruptcy, you get a clean swipe, you get to keep your car, and you get to keep your job. So all that money now you're giving to the bank each month, they don't get. They get your house, they get your flash car, but they don't get a car. You get to keep that, and you get to keep your jobs. They're going, well, if we do that, we'd save $5 grand a month. I said, what are you waiting for? So did I encourage them to declare bankruptcy? Absolutely, because they had a no out. There was no exit for them otherwise, except handing over all their money every month. And they were as depressed as hell. You wouldn't think Siege would say to somebody, yeah, go bankrupt. Hello, VMAC. Because it was the only alternative for them not to go crazy. No, not here. You declare bankruptcy in Australia, they can't take your, well, to give you an idea, if you had a business, they can't take your house. That's safeguarded. But if you're paying a mortgage, that will go. You get to keep a car. You don't get to keep the $150 Porsche, but you get to keep the $10,000 ute. And I think it's 5 or 7 years, clean slate. Your bankruptcy records are expunged, they're gone. But you can't leave the country, I think, for 2 years. Well, who's going to leave the country at the moment? Let's be honest. You can't fly out of Australia and you can't fly back in. And the only thing a bankruptcy does is punish a bank. The word rupsy goes to bank. 7 years over there, okay. Like I say, for a young couple at their wits' end, worrying about feeding their kids is the best alternative. The only debt you have to pay that you can't get out of bankruptcy in Australia is like the old saying, death and taxes. If you owe the federal government taxes, that never gets expunged. You have that for the rest of your life. But if you owe money to a bank, they get scrubbed. You owe 10 grand on a car, they get scrubbed. It's a natural loss system. If you've been in the banking industry, you know that you get about 3% of your loans are going to go bad. That's how it works. I'd make it very easy in the US if I was president. There would be no student loans. Zero. Why? Because if I was president of the United States, education would be free. Healthcare would be free. I'd thump you for tax. Yeah, you probably think, oh, geez, he's free health, but free education, but he's now taxed as, 50% more. Yeah, well, we've got to pay for the free health and the free education somehow. Exactly what we do in my country. Education in what they call further education was only started, college, university in Australia, only started to be charged for at the turn of the century. Up until then, all our politicians, believe me, got a free college education and university. It was free. But a lot of the universities are private institutions. They don't like the word free. There's no money in free. But imagine having a nation that has free education and free healthcare. Now you've got a healthy population and an educated population. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. VMAC and I if we traded places, say VMAC went for a holiday in Australia and I went to a holiday in Canada and we both broke our leg going skiing, because we have ski resorts in Australia, and I'm skiing in Canada, I break my leg. She's got a broken leg in Australia, she's a Canadian, and I got a broken leg in Canada and I'm an Australian. Guess what it's going to cost us? Just type in 0 and you'll come up with the answer. We have a bilateral agreement, Commonwealth countries, that if someone like VMAC was in Australia, she broke her leg unexpectedly, skiing on her nose down a slope, hit a tree, that's how it happens. She'd walk out of Australia paying nothing. But mind you, the Canadian government will be looking after me at the same time. Same with the British, Ireland, well, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales. I do not need travel insurance in the UK. We did take travel insurance when we went on a tour last year, but it was mainly because we were flitting around different countries. We just took a broad spectrum. It does work because what happens, we had a person from Canada that went to a hospital and she was told it was something to do with the oncology. She had recovered from cancer, but she needed to get a checkup, and they said, we'll go to the Australian hospitals and tell them and we'll send them the details. Now, seeing an oncologist costs a lot of money. She didn't pay anything. Apparently, there's a form that gets filled in. It would normally have been like 2 or 3 grand. And in an Australian hospital, say you were an American, you come to Australia, you stay in a hospital, it's 2 grand a night. It would pay costs that you'd be able to pay. No, not here. No, I went to the British Embassy and asked them if I actually broke my leg in the UK, what would happen? They'd say, no, National Health Service, no problem. They have a lateral agreement with Australia. Same, other words, it's same. And I thought Canada was the same. I presume Canada is the same. I could walk in with a cough and a cold and I see a doctor in Canada and give me a prescription. I'd probably pay for my prescription, but I probably wouldn't pay for the doctor visit. Well, here you could have a full heart transplant and it costs you nothing, 0. You could have all sorts of things and it costs you nothing. You can choose to take private health insurance, which is a weird system. You still pay your Medicare levy whether you have private health or not. So 2% of your income is taken by the government anyway. And then you get private health. But if you go to a private hospital in Australia, you can get most things for free on your private health insurance, except if you've got to have an anaesthesist or a certain specialist. You wake up and you say, well, that's good, I paid my private health insurance. You go, well, yeah, you've got to pay for the anaesthesiast, that's 2 grand. And then this other guy did a bit of checking, he's a private guy, there's another 3 grand. So yeah, private health insurance, I always tell people don't take it. Yeah, that's the same, vice versa. That's what I was told. It's a repat system. It works on the principle that most people have travel insurance anyway, let's be honest. Oop, here comes the purple angel. So if you've got travel insurance, you're covered on a certain level anyway, but it's usually that extended period. Let's say you broke your leg and it was shattered and you needed to be 6 months in Australia. Well, you're looked after here. Like I say, I cannot imagine raising my kids in America and worrying that one of my kids needs a kidney transplant or needs some major surgery. I have a feeling I'd have to sell my house to pay for it. And that's not a good feeling. And I imagine this happens in the US, is people don't go to the doctor. People don't go to the hospital out of absolute fear on the financial burden that will cause them. I truly believe that. Well, I know a family we've known for well over a decade in the US moved from Maryland to Pennsylvania. Staying in Maryland, they would have had to pay 15 grand on health insurance. And in Pennsylvania, it was next to nothing, 3 grand or something. It's so weird not to have a national system, to have a state-imposed levy, different health. What happens if you're travelling through a different state, like you're going to a friend's place, Well, you're covered in your state, but are you covered in the next state? Crazy. Do you want to chat to the people while I just go and check that curry?
I'll just leave it round that way.
I have, but said you want to chat to
Oh.
me.
Hello.
Now she says hello.
I don't know who's there. You got. Oh damn! I didn't do the emails today. Oh, I can't believe how really slack. I'm gonna just have a go at myself. Slack, lazy, and forgetful I am. I'd be apologising forever. Hang on, I'm not on yet, so I can't quite read the chat because of. Where's this stream? What's it called? Oh, I can't find his stream. Why is it not showing up for me? Live slow cooking. Is that what it's called, people? I'm coming so I can read the chat. Here I am. Okay. Oh, I've got to send you a video, VMAC. You still there, VMAC? Of my daughter, what she did. I will say no more. I will send it to you. You are going to crack up, VMAC. So anyway, have a good day. And hello, everybody. It sounded like I could have said, hello, Vietnam. Where are we? Rujix, who else is in here? Are you still here, people? That'd be right. I finally come in the chat and VMAC has to start work. I enjoyed my show today, American Pickers. They picked Malibu and California. No one's talking to me.
Okay.
My gringo said, hello, beautiful. VMAC's got to go start a working day.
Have a good day. VMAC? Just grab a biscuit to go with my coffee.
Let me turn it back around.
I hope you're all going to have a good day, whatever that entails.
So Mel gone. She's going to be right back and not come back.
Oh, I'll be honest, I didn't get a lot of the chat while I was cooking. Put Mel in charge. She did say she was going to be right back at one time, but so I think we might end the broadcast. We've done the cooking, we've done the yakking. The boss is here now.
Yeah, I'll go play my Yahtzee game then.
Well, we can say if you like, if you want to chat to them. Don't want to talk to them. Fine, oh, obviously. Yeah, there you go. There you go, there you
How long have you
go.
been on for?
Hour and a bit. This concludes our broadcast for the day.
Anyway, it's good to see some of you we haven't seen for a while, like you, Gringo, and Rujix. Who else did we say was missing in that show?
Buttercup was there earlier.
Yeah, because I told her. But
Oh,
I
right.
did tell her I was watching my show.
Mm-hmm.
No,
But she had to go because a man was coming.
oh,
She left us hanging on that. Just
Okay.
disappeared.
yeah. Oh, I shall go and play my Yahtzee.
Yeah, even here, Old Gringo, it's nearly back to normal. But like I say, walking around, people are avoiding each other, self-distancing, if you like. So, I was reading some reports this morning about how the planet is 20% cleaner because of the less emissions. You see how easy we could fix the planet if we really put our mind to it? No one will, of course. Excuse me. All right, we shall conclude the broadcast. So from the one that's been missing all evening,
Yeah. And a kiss for everyone, past, present, and future.
yeah, so we could only be kings for a day. Anyway, have a good day wherever you are. Be safe, be smart, and on occasions, be kind. Good night.